In this video, I'm going to teach you how to superglide very consistently. I have around 5k hours in this game and I've been doing movement for the majority of those hours. And I was even so obsessed with movement at one point, and especially with superglides, because in my opinion they're one of the hardest movement techs to master in Apex Legends, that I started recording voice memos of myself talking about all the information you need to know to get your superglides down way more consistently. This video will be divided into different chapters, so you can really choose what you want to see, and it will also cover multiple things, being supergliding, how to superglide, and all the different tips I know to like get your superglides down more consistently, integrating Lurch strafing into superglides, and finally instagliding or skibbity gliding. So the first tip is about your keyboard layout. Quickly, a superglide is a movement tech where you get a speed boost when hitting jump and crouch at the same time, which is very important, at the end of a climbing animation. A lot of people will bind crouch to C or V so they can hit both space and crouch at the same time with just their thumb, which is great. But what a lot of people don't do, and what is in my opinion very helpful as well, is turning around your spacebar or crouch keycap. See, the reason this is so efficient is because of the timing of your inputs. Some people are saying that you need to press jump 0.1 seconds before crouch or the other way around, but they don't know what they're talking about, okay? You need to press them at the same time, which is way easier when you turn around one of the keycaps. Let me explain why. We all see that the front of the keycaps are way lower than the back. So when it isn't turned around, when we look at like a normal keyboard, we will see that the higher back of the crouch key is closer to the lower front of the spacebar key. Now, if we want to like superglide off of this, it's way harder because like if we imagine a flat line going down, we will always hit the crouch key. Imagine this is the crouch key for now. We will always hit the crouch key before the spacebar key, so it will just be harder no matter what. Now, if we turn around, let's say for example the crouch key, we will see that the lower front will now be closest to the lower front of the spacebar key, and that it's way easier to superglide because it's on the same level. Now we can also just turn around the spacebar key, so the higher back of the spacebar key will be at the same height or at the same level of the higher back of the crouch key. See, which keycap you turn around doesn't really matter, I think. The only thing is that turning around the crouch key is just way more ugly. But yeah, I did it because I just couldn't turn around my spacebar key. It just wouldn't work. And the second tip is about finger layout. Although your timing is more important, the way you press crouch and space has a lot of impact as well. I have a few different ways to perform superglides. The first one, used by almost everyone I think, is holding your thumb sideways and doing it like this. Now I feel like it can be more effective to hold your thumb like normal because you will have more control. I mean, you can't tell me moving your thumb upside down is harder than side to side, you know? The only problem is that it's way less comfortable. I mean, it's a bit comparable to claw on a controller, I think. It's like less comfortable, but it has a higher potential of a better consistency. Now, another thing you can try, and what I do personally, is holding your thumb sideways and pressing it to like this part of your palm, like this joint of your point finger. You press it against it and then just like push the keys down. It is insanely stable and it feels amazing. Now, I just want to make clear that I'm not forcing you to play a certain way, okay? I'm just sharing different methods that might help you get your superglides in easier, but there is one thing extremely important about finger layout, and that's the consistency of the motion. See, what I would do is exercise superglides over and over again until you find the method that works best for you. Whether it's holding it sideways, upside down with a little curve, like normal, or focusing between the point that's like closest between the two keys, I don't really care. You just need to like find a way how to hold your thumb that works best for you, and then from then on you want to get the motion of hitting the keys with your thumb as consistent and similar as possible. And the reason why this is so important is because if it's not consistent and not similar, it can throw you off. See, there is a chance that you hit your keys at the right timing, but you won't superglide because you didn't press them correctly, and therefore you will think that the timing is wrong. You will change it up, you will change up the timing, and superglide even less. Okay, I will show two superglides with like each way to hold your thumb. The third tip is about your FPS. See, it is very simple, but I think a lot of people might underestimate it a bit. A Superglide is a frame-based movement technique, so the more FPS you have, and the more frames per second you have, the harder it gets. Now, I personally play on 141 FPS, which is twice as easy as someone that plays on 300 FPS. So if you have a monster PC and you can run up to like 300 FPS, but you're not happy with the results of Superglides you're getting, you might want to consider turning it down a little bit. The last tip I have for you about supergliding more often may sound a bit vague, but is in my opinion the hard reality of hitting your superglides more often. The more you'll think about it, the less you'll hit him. I know this sounds very weird because I've been like constantly giving you tips and I've putting the effort on like how you need to press the keys and what you need to do to superglide more often. But what you actually need to do is look at a certain balance between the strength you use to hit the keys with your thumb and not really thinking about hitting the keys or performing the superglide itself. Now, in my opinion, not thinking about the Superglide is a bit more important, and therefore, as I already said in my voice recordings from over a year ago, the strength I would use or I would put in my thumb is about 40% kracht. So the next part of this video will be the explanation of how to integrate a Lurch strafe into a Superglide, and the efficiency is just exactly the same as a normal Lurch strafe. I mean, if you want to tap strafe there while there is an enemy there, you'll do this, but you're not looking at the enemy. While if you're Lurch strafing, it will look like this and you will keep seeing the enemy. And it's exactly the same with a Superglide. If you Superglide, you tap strafe here, you're not looking at the enemy. While if you Lurch strafe there, you'll keep seeing the enemy. If you don't know how to Lurch strafe already, I'll link my video, my tutorial on Lurch strafing down in the description, so you can learn it that way. But there is something that makes forward lurches easier, and that is that you don't need to press your W key when doing it. So normally you would think I'm doing it like this, but that's not necessary. You can just leave out the W out of the sequence and your Superglide will be sharper. It looks like this. That is not what it looks like. It looks like this. Get it? Okay, so from then on, it's just like rinse and repeat until you get it. You can do it like that. You can do it the other way. You can do it backwards. It's just the same. If you know how to Lurch strafe, this is very easy. So yeah, okay. And what you also can do is like do full circles like this. Now, without a stim or a speed boost, it's just like killing all your momentum, so it doesn't really do anything. Okay, so the next and the last thing I want to talk about is instagliding or skibbity gliding. Instagliding or skibbity gliding is a movement tech that lets you superglide off of any ledge on the map. Now, in my opinion, it's not very efficient, but it does look like extremely cool. It looks like this. And how you do it is, it's a bit tricky. So first of all, you want to jump and in the air hold spacebar. So now you're just like walking with your spacebar like pressed. You know what I mean? And then you're going to walk off an edge, and like the moment you're gonna like fall, you're going to turn 180 degrees. So you will mantle it. Like, you know, like what it looks like, you know, like eventually when you're mantling and when you're turning too early. So this is always mantling, and then too early, you will see that there's like not really like bending over, if you know what I mean. Now you can, or what I do is like I make a U form all the way at the end, which I don't know why, but in my opinion it's easier or something to like do it. And then you can just super glide at the right timing. It's almost instantly, so you gotta be quickly because you're holding space and like you're turning, letting go of it, and then just instantly like pressing the buttons. It isn't very simple, but after a few like yeah hours, I would say, of training, you will get it down, I think. Like eventually it's just like normal super glides, you know, it's just timing in the end. fell down. Okay, now I want to know how long I go for. Okay. So yeah, I'll show an extra clip of me hitting it, and I think that's it for this video.